winning again. So
winning again.
Which is great to see.
That man has won everything, Steve.
Unbelievable. Trophy cabinet. If it ended today for him, he's going to retire a happy guy. But no, yeah, another great tournament for him. Same thing with Paul. It was a bit late for me. I was either in Germany and then it was like, you know, bedtime. But Alvarez is outstanding, and like you say, the trophy count and the medals that lad's got at such an early age is unbelievable.
Look at that picture there, Copa America 2024, obviously after winning the World Cup and then everything that he won with Manchester City as well. And we might get the chance to watch him in the Olympics as well.
Olympics next, yeah.
Yeah, which I just wouldn't bet against this man winning the Olympics right now. So, been a lot of football over the summer to keep us going, but like you said, Big Steve, it's the proper stuff. The proper stuff is back because pre-season has started. City's first pre-season game is tomorrow against Celtic. We will be here, and of course you can watch that live on City Plus as well. It's a weird one though, Paul, in terms of the fact that we are literally, 10 days after the end of the Euros and the end of Copa America. We know that a lot of the players most of the players that were playing in the tournaments, they're not on this trip yet. Kovacic and Gvardiol will join them in New York, but apart from that, the others are resting or taking a well-deserved break. So what's it like, do you think, for the players? It's 10 days after the end of the Euros, so how will that have affected anything, the preparation?
I don't think it'll affect the preparation. It can be a little bit disruptive, but obviously speaking about City, the guys are used to it now. You know, every second year, it's the Euros, it's the World Cup, even the players like Bernardo Silva won the Nations League, didn't he, playing through the summer as well. So they're used to it, and they're used to staggering coming back as well. But what it does do, it gives an unbelievable opportunity to the young kids that are coming in to go away and experience. And a lot of the kids that are there now would have trained sporadically with the first team or here, but it's completely different going away pre-season, you know, when you're 24/7, you're with your teammates for, I think it's 2.5 weeks they're away as well. And it's a great experience for them to train. You know, we've got obviously Erling's there, Jack's there, Ederson's there, so that's Calvin Phillips. There's a lot of experienced players there, so the learning experience they'll get for that will be invaluable. But it also gives them a chance to impress the management and the coaching staff as well.
Yeah, because they're getting, like you say, 2.5 weeks up close and personal with Pep and with all the coaching staff, a training alongside those, you know, Jack and Erling and those world-class players that you've said. It seems to be, Steve, a really incredible opportunity for those young players that have gone on the tour.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And like you say, we're used to it now with City, with the players getting to the later stages of tournaments and not having a full squad, shall we say. But the opportunity for these young lads in this tournament is unbelievable, and we've seen it before. There's always one or two that start to shine and go under the radar, and then we know with Pep that he's not frightened to pick them in games. Like we've seen Rico Lewis come through and people like that. I've got my eye on one or two of them out there who I've seen in the EDS before, and I'm just hoping that they can really shine out there. And they're up against good opposition and teams that are probably a little bit further down the line in preparation than us. So the games are going to be intense, they're going to be fast, it's going to be a really good test for some of them. And like you say, I'm hoping that one or two can shine.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to picking your brain a bit because I know you watch a lot of the EDS football, but of course some of the players that are in the squad as well are players that were out on loan last season that have come back as well. So we'll get into that a little bit later, and we're looking forward to picking your brains on that. But it does seem like an incredible opportunity for these young players. Also an incredible opportunity for some of the players that were on the fringes of the first team. One in particular who scored, I think we all said, our favourite goal, or one of our favourite goals of last season. Of course, Oscar Bobb is at the pre-season tour. We can hear from him now. He's been doing the press conference.
Hi, Oscar. You've got there's a lot of the senior players aren't here, so is this a good chance for you to catch the eye of the manager?
Yeah, I think so. It's a great opportunity, of course. Just a couple of senior players, and I think the manager's watching, so we're all excited.
And what do you personally hope for from the new season? You got a little taste of it last season. You want more matches, presumably.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed last season a lot, but this season, obviously, I want to play more, play a bigger part. So yeah.
As Martin said, Oscar, it was a big breakthrough year for you last year, particularly with the goal at Newcastle. How do you go from being like a breakout player to then integrating yourself more in the squad and playing more games?
So I think what I look at is the players in my position, like say Bernardo or Phil, Jack maybe. I mean, they're consistent every training session, every game, and I know I can work a lot and become a lot better at that. So yeah, I just think it's about constantly raising my level and being more consistent.
Is there something to be said for being quite patient as well? Because a lot of young players are very, very keen to play every week, so they go and look for moves elsewhere, but it seems like you're very settled where you are.
Yeah, I think playing for this manager has always been a dream, and I mean, if I have to wait a bit longer to eventually get more playing time, I don't mind.
Hey, Oscar.
You mentioned Phil there. Is he someone you kind of look at the way he came into the City team and kind of played a few games one season and then built up on that? Is that kind of the model you're looking at going, well, if he can do it, I can definitely break into being a regular starter soon?
Yeah, I think obviously with Phil's talent, it was no question he was going to break through. But yeah, I do look at him. I think he took some time, and people were always saying that he should go somewhere, try and get more playing time, but he waited, and of course it paid off, so yeah.
Has there been any point where you've thought, maybe I do need to go elsewhere, or you've always thought, do you know what, I'm at the right place and I can do this?
No, of course, there's been times where I've thought it might be very hard, but as soon as I got the smallest opportunity, I thought there's no other options really.
It looks like you're really just enjoying every chance you get.
Yeah, 100%.
Thanks.
To Joe.
Hi Oscar, you mentioned the players also in your position, now you've got Savinho as well. What do you expect he's going to bring to the team?
Who?
Savinho.
Oh, Savinho. No, of course, he had a great season at Girona, and yeah, I remember, I think it was a year and a half ago, he was doing rehab at City. I spoke to him a bit then, and then obviously he went to Girona and was flying from the start, so I've been watching him. He's a great player, can go past anyone, goals, assists, he has everything, so I think he's a great addition.
Do you relish that competition?
What?
Do you enjoy that competition?
Yeah, I think being at City, there's always going to be competition, and just have to embrace it, yeah.
Just at the back there, please, Enfield. Just the guy with the cap, please. Sorry. Just at the very back, please.
Thanks so much for coming here and for being here and for answering these questions. How do you enjoy the opportunity of playing in a new area, a new environment, taking it all in, the culture, the adoring fans that wouldn't normally get the chance to see you play, but also, like you said, prepare for an upcoming season that with a chance to make more history?
Yeah, so I think of course it's great to see the passionate fans. I mean, I think the club has become so big, it's great to see how many fans there are, even out here. So, new environment, I think everyone's very excited to play these games here, and yeah, we've been welcomed very nicely.
Kind of following up on that, what are your impressions of North Carolina so far, and what do you know about, just the school, the University of North Carolina, where you're going to be playing?
So, of course, I know there's a lot of sports here, maybe not as much football, but yeah, I know it's like Michael Jordan went to university here, of course, I know that, and yeah, I know the fans seem very passionate. I don't know if it's just sport in general, but no, people seem very nice, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Who's got the correct shade of blue, you or UNC?
Oh, so UNC is a bit lighter, no?
I would say a touch. It's hard to say. They're known as Carolina blue. I don't know. I'm not sure what Manchester City calls their blue.
No, I don't know. I think I like City. Yeah.
It'll work out though, regardless. The local fans can just wear their UNC gear.
Yeah, 100%.
Support. Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any more guys? Yep, just at the back, please.
Thank you for coming to North Carolina. The Latino community is really fans for Manchester City.
Yeah.
Do you want to say something for the Latino community? And I don't know if you speak Spanish or not, but you can say in Spanish or in English, doesn't matter.
No, my Spanish isn't great, but Yeah, it's great to see. I seen that the Copa America was here, or in the US a few weeks ago, and I seen that the fans were very passionate and following it very tightly. So it's great to see. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So that was Oscar Bob speaking just a few moments ago for the press conference ahead of our first pre-season friendly tomorrow against Celtic. Of course, you can watch that game live on City Plus, and we will be here for a special Matchday Live. Kel will be in the studio, of course, before the game, at half-time and post-match as usual. So Oscar Bob there, loved hearing from him. I love the breadth of questions that they get as well. It felt like he was being quizzed at times as well on different things. But he mentioned there, Steve, about looking up to Phil and being really happy to sit and wait, and when he appreciated that when he said getting his opportunities and taking them. That's so wonderful to hear.
No, I think the path that Phil Foden's took in this club has given a lot of these academy lads a clear vision to the future. They can look at a player that's not jumped ship when people were asking him to, not gone out on loan when they asked him to. He's stuck behind here, he's trained with the best, he's learnt off the best, and he's become one of the best players in the world. So I feel like people like Oscar, it must be tempting to want to go out on loan, and people are telling you how good you are and you're not getting the minutes. But if he keeps with that attitude that we've seen there, and he keeps positive and he keeps doing what Pep asked him to do, it won't be long before he's in the first team. And like you say, what Phil Foden has done and the path he chose will be one of the best things that's ever happened to this club, in my opinion, and this academy will strive because of that.
It's such an amazing opportunity for him as well, because of course we saw him in last season, part of the first team squad, and we saw him coming on and being an impact. Obviously the Newcastle goal, the one that we all remember, and how important that goal. We would not have won the league without that goal. So this tour feels like, particularly maybe for him, really, really key opportunity for him, Paul.
Yeah, I think the tour, but I think this season in general for him now. Listening to him today, I thought he spoke very well. I thought some of the questions he asked were horrendous, I'm not going to say. But he coped with it well. He's obviously a very mature young boy. But I know what's liked about him within the club is his versatility as well. He's not just your natural wide player. He likes to come into little pockets in that 10 position and cause his teams a lot of problems. Technically, he's fantastic. And he done well, but he's another example of impressing in pre-season, because he went away to Asia last year and done really, really well, and he's obviously put a little thing in Pep's head there. And Pep put him on in some big games, game-changing games at the same time as well. So big season for him, but it's something that he can handle. And since Steve's bang on, I think Phil has been a guiding light for everybody in the academy now. And you speak to the kids in the academy, the awards that we've done at the end of the season, you speak to some of the coaches in the academy, and the players genuinely feel that there is a pathway through for them now, whereas maybe that wasn't the case before, before Phil broke through.
Love our Phil. Love our Phil. Love Oscar Bob as well, and some of the questions he was asked there. It's sky blue as well, by the way, is the shade that we call our blue here in Manchester. So that was Oscar Bob at the press conference. Just a second ago, Pep Guardiola started to walk into the press conference as well. So we're going to go over there live now, and we're going to hear from our manager. I'm so excited. I haven't heard from him in days.
Hello, Pep. Did you have a good break?
Really good, yeah.
Did you manage to see a lot of the Euros while you were off?
Some of them, yeah. Some of them.
What did you make of the final?
I think the best team of the tournament won. I think nobody doubted that Spain was brilliant in all departments in every single game. It's not easy to win 7-7. But at the same time, for the connection I have with England, for the players for many years, so I think it's always a big success, right, to the finals. Get the 2 Euros finals in a row is an amazing achievement, and I think it's a good lesson for the future for for all the players.
The player of the tournament was Rodri. Did you see many of his performances?
Yes, when I saw Spain, I saw it, and he was. Yeah, I would say playing the level that he has playing for many, many years. His consistency is brutal. So, and of course from Rodri, from Jaime Laporte, from from Ferran, that they were together. You know, yeah, I'm happy for them.
There's some talk that Rodri could be in the frame for the Ballon d'Or this year. Is that something that's possible for a defensive midfielder?
Well, I think there are a few candidates, you know, for the Ballon d'Or. Normally the winners for players of Real Madrid, and of course from Man City in that case. So I cannot deny how happy it would be if he could get it. But being in the, you know, in the race to be nominated to win the Ballon d'Or is fantastic for him, of course, his family, friends, but of course for Man City, for the whole organization. And we're so proud of that.
Hi, Pep. You've had a few days with the players now. How have they come back? Are you happy with the shape everyone's in? And
we're really good. So I hear they have these guys here have a long break, so fresh mentally, legs, and 80%, 85% is academy players. It's good for me, for our staff, to see them, for them, you know, training with Erling, with Jack, with keepers, with Rico, Oscar, with the guys like in the first team, Calvin, and so. Yeah, it's a good test. We play 4 games, difficult, important teams, but it's good experience for them and for us as well.
I remember you saying at Wembley after the FA Cup final that a few of the players had decisions to make on their futures. We seem to talk about it every year, where it could be a few leaving, and it's often the case that they don't. They stay where they are. It looks like De Bruyne is staying. It looks like Ederson's probably going to stay. Would you be happy going in to the season with the status quo, just with the same squad?
Yeah, I love them. I like them. They proved for many years how good they are. So I don't know what's going to happen in the market, but the squad is long enough. If someone leaves, we are going to talk about that. Of course, until the last day, we have chances. I don't rule it out, the option to have any new players, but if anyone leaves, I think 95% will have the same squad.
It seems like you're probably a little bit more relaxed than you were a few years ago, because when you were saying that you need to shake and move and there needs a refresh and things like that, but it doesn't seem like that this time.
I don't know when I said that. You got to refresh my mind after 8 years together. I don't know when I said that. I think I was clear. I remember perfectly the first season, that I think a really good season 8 years ago. But we are a whole team and we have a new energy, and after we make important impact in the market. And since then we make movements depending most of the time. Sometimes the players that they want to play more, or sometimes players they want to give another experience. But yeah, we in that term, so every situation is different, and I feel comfortable because the quality of the human beings that we have in the squad is difficult to be replaced, and the quality is there. So, but we will see. I don't know in the last moment if someone came to, some players and they leave. We're going to decide.
Hi, Pep. You talked about your special connection with England, that we know your contract is up at the end of the season. England are currently looking for a manager. Is international management, maybe even England, something you would consider in the future?
I'm really excited for this season is coming, so I'm really happy here. So, like every season I need the break. I need it definitely, but after that I charge my batteries and I have the same energy like usual. And I know the competition is coming. I will be who I am. So and I'm completely focused on that, for respect for Federation, English Federation, especially for my club.
You talked about the break. Jack Grealish has had probably a longer break than he probably wanted, because obviously he didn't go to the Euros. Just wondering how he handled that, and we've obviously seen pictures of him training privately and that kind of thing, just how he is now.
It's really good. I think I'm come back perfect and with the same happiness and the same unbelievable attitude with the group. And hopefully he can do a good season to push his mates to deserve a place in the team, to want to play as much regular like it happened 2 seasons ago and all last season. And absolutely depends on him. So all the players depends on him, not on my decisions.
Hi Pep, one player that has come in is Savinho. What can you tell us about him and what you think he will bring to the team?
Well, the impact I have done in Girona have been absolutely amazing. So I think Mitchell, the manager, make an incredible job with him. Can play in both sides, left winger, right winger, even, and can play, I think, in the middle, but we need more special in the wingers. His 1-against-1 is devastated, and he's a young, and of course, I said to Jack to bring, maybe not a lot, but 1 or 2 players to bring something fresh is necessary. It's not necessary to put sometimes 7, 8 players. You cannot, in modern financial issues, to change 6, 7 players and bring 6, 7 new players. It's unsustainable. It's impossible. You have to be smart, and we try to do. Many players want to come here, but we didn't get an agreement, for the clubs, because they ask so high price, and we didn't do it. And I have a long list. I think we have a more long list than the players that we failed to bring him here than the players that we brought him here. So, and I think, for the connection having Troyes, because it was a player from there, for the price, for everything, for the age I have, we cannot forget he's playing for national team from Brazil, and he's a guy like he's not few. You have few as a wingers that can play in both sides. Maybe Doku. The other ones can play just in one side. Phil, so and can use it 2 positions, and yeah, very, very happy for him, and say thank you to Girona, because without the job has done him there, especially the manager and all the players, could not be possible to bring him here.
Is it frustrating if deals are not going through? If you're saying
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. When it doesn't happen, it don't happen. So I respect the other clubs, like ask, the price they want to do, but at the same time, we are not agreed, they don't come.
For Jamie, please.
Hi, Pep. What would quantify success against Celtic, and then ultimately, when your time is up 2 weeks here in the United States, how would you look back and say it was a successful trip and a successful match tomorrow?
No injuries.
Anything else?
No injuries. That is a big success that we can have. So we don't come here to leave the 4 trophies. So we come here to no injuries, to refresh what we are, and especially, I said 80-85% of the team is from the young academy players. So we have to, experience will be good. We have to play against, of course, the Rangers, Celtic and Rangers in Scotland are the top team. So, and after Milan, come on, and Barcelona and Chelsea, these guys play against that team. It's better, I would say, experience or better improvement to see how can develop, can compete, can be against these opponents is massively important for all of us, for them.
With that larger group of newer players, the opportunities, anyone in particular, 2 or 3 players in particular that you're looking at saying there's a real opportunity for them?
I want to see all of them. I want to see all of them. I'm curious to see Maka especially come back from Sheffield experience. As a player, have a highly opinion on him, and I would like he can insert properly with the team, because I would love to have him, to kick him in the next season with us, because he's a special guy to play in the smaller spaces in the pockets, and we don't have many, and I think he grew up in terms of physicality and mentality. When you play in the Premier League in a team like is, fighting for to being relegated, you get something special, and but. On the other side, I don't care how he's going to play, because I know him quite well, and I know his potential, and he has to just, play good for himself, for the team, and that's all.
Pep, what do you like about this stadium tour in America, and is there anything you're specifically looking forward to here in North Carolina?
I've been many years here, many years in the tour, and the organization always is unbelievable. I will be honest, I don't want to be too nice for your country. It just, when arrive at the airport to the hotels are nice, and facilities, all the facilities, big pitches. It's really cool. I love to come here, because every time since Barcelona time, always we come here is good. Sometimes, of course, the club has to go in other continents to play, but I like to come here in the States.
What do you know specifically about the University of North Carolina and getting to play on their campus?
Well, when I lived in North Carolina, I was thinking of Michael Jordan, but unfortunately it wasn't not at the university, it was in the other one, right?
We played at UNC.
Here as well? I was here with the last day. The coach here told me that was not here. It was in another university. I don't know. Anyway, the first mine it come here, but yeah, it's the first time I'm here in this state. So yeah, and following on TV, you know the elections for United States. That's what we're here. We're following.
Sir, welcome to North Carolina. Thank you for answering our questions. 2 questions. One, when you get a reaction just by sitting down and you get that crowd reaction, chanting your name, begging for pictures.
I'm so famous. So famous.
Does that kind of make you happy knowing like how popular the sport is here in North Carolina and in the States, but also what does that do for the brand and the sport of soccer, knowing that it's giving a whole other country and people the chance to see you guys when they maybe would never get to in their life?
Well, since many years ago, so I think MLS grew up a lot in the last years. I think the impact from Messi came here always help us, you come this kind of figure for the MLS competition is an incredible boost. I know the stadiums are nice and the people is growing. I know here in England, in the States, you have many sports, basketball, baseball, hockey, so a lot. So, it's not like maybe in Europe that there is a lot of sports as well, of course, but football is the most important sport in terms of audience. But it's nice to have the country, like you said, with the brand. I remember the first year when I arrived, second season when I arrived here, and it was not many blue shirts in the stands and helps what the team has done in the previous seasons. We are better known all around the world, and this is so proud because at the end, titles, you leave the title, it's fine, it's really good. That keeps you a job for the next season. But the important is the fact that the people follow us. Premier League worldwide is being followed amazingly. So that's why it's so important, to show our brand, to respect the games, and we have to behave well, for all the people, because at the end, reward for our self-esteem and many things. So that's why it's nice, really nice to come here every season.
Profesor, bienvenido. Creo que soy el único que habla español aquí en el grupo. ¿Puedo hacer esta pregunta en español y usted responde en español? Para los oyentes que están en español, somos de TUDN Radio, and I'm sorry for all my colleagues. I'm going to do this question in Spanish for my speaking Spanish audience.
Don't feel sorry, they will learn. So they have a chance.
Aquí en América se habla mucho de que sería un sueño tener un entrenador como usted. México, la selección de México sueña con tener un entrenador como Pep Guardiola. ¿Usted estaría interesado en algún momento de venir a dirigir a América Latina?
Ya le he hecho más. He oído que Aguirre ahora será el nuevo seleccionador de México, cosa que me alegro mucho, porque me acuerdo en el primer año que yo cuando tenía 37 años, que entrené en el Barcelona, Aguirre ya estaba entrenando y se portó. Es un tipo con mucha experiencia, ha hecho un trabajo increíble en el Mallorca, y creo que Rafa Márquez también volverá allí ayudándole, pero ya lo he hecho más de una vez. No sé cuándo, creo que en tiempo, pero tarde o temprano me gustaría entrar en la selección. Esto lo he hecho muchas veces.
Y otra pregunta, muchos jugadores ya, la vida del futbolista es muy corta. Algunos reciben buenas ofertas, and I can say this question in English too. So es muy corta la vida del futbolista y salen buenas ofertas, como el caso de Kevin ahora, que va al fútbol de Arabia.
No.
Creo que no sé si sale. Hay una información.
Kevin no va.
No va. Pero hay jugadores que dicen que vienen a la MLS, que quizá no sea tan competitiva como Europa. Usted, si un futbolista le pide un consejo, ¿qué usted le diría?
Que el corazón les diga. Que vayan donde él y su familia intuyen que estarán bien, se encontrarán bien.
Gracias.
No.
Coach, for many fans in attendance tomorrow, this may be their first exposure to high-level European football, or a lot of kids, just their introduction to the sport in general. Can you recall maybe your first introduction to the sport and how it may have led you to your position today?
I had her in that time. My back was better than now, and yeah, I don't remember honestly. I was nervous, but excited at the same time to prove. It's all the guys, I guess. When you look at them, they look at you like, oh, I want to learn, I want to be in the first team, and that is priceless. So it's so good. So, yeah, we try to help each other, to try to apply a little bit what we spoke, to make them feel comfortable tomorrow and the next games. And they will do mistakes, improve for the next one. Like I said before, your colleague, no injuries, and like this they can train, accumulate, especially the players for the first team, as much accumulate games, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, and training sessions, week by week. The conditions will not be perfect, but we'll arrive in the first part of the season in the better condition as possible.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. What? Here?
And that, of course, is Pep Guardiola. But you knew that, didn't you? Because he's so famous. Loved that. Love when Pep's in this mood. I really, really enjoyed that press conference. And we all sort of say he looks fresh, Steve, doesn't he? He looks youthful and like he's had a really good holiday.
It's great to see. He's got a fantastic tan. And no, he spoke really well, and I thought he was a bit upbeat, and the way he spoke about the players and the new season, and you know, they tried to press him on the England job and things, and he sort of politely declined that. And no, he looks well, and it's all good for Manchester City fans to see him like that.
My absolute worst nightmare on earth, Paul, would be if Pep Guardiola became the England manager. I would hate every single second.
Don't even go there. It's not going to happen.
He shut it down, didn't he? So
yeah.
We're good. We're good with that. And he talked about the fact that he said he needed the break. It was a long season. It was a hard season again. And he said he needed the break. But he had the break, and I loved it when he was sort of saying that he's bouncing and he's back and he's looking forward to this season already, because I think that's kind of how we all feel, but that's what we want to hear as well. Pep Guardiola is back.
Yes, but it was so energetic in that interview there in the press conference, and answering every question with enthusiasm. The one he didn't want to answer, he just sort of pied them off a little bit, but just super positive, and he looks as if he's... At the end of last season, I think he was a bit tired. I think after the treble winning season, and then the pressure for winning 4 in a row, and then the FA Cup final. So he's needed the break, but they all need the break, especially Pep's so intense in everything that he does, not just in match days but day-to-day training as well. But no, he's so enthusiastic there. It was good to see.
I love the little drops, the little sense of humour, the little feelings that we got from him. So many interesting things as well. I was writing notes as he was speaking. Something that jumped out at me is when he was asked about the academy players that he was looking forward to seeing, that had the opportunity. He specifically mentioned James McAtee. Now, we know obviously he was on loan at Sheffield United for the last 2 seasons. They love him at Sheffield United. So was that interesting for you, Steve, to hear him specifically pick him out?
Yeah, because you could see when he was talking about it, he was getting into it. He was mentioning about him working in tight spaces, and he was also mentioning, obviously, the character of him. When you've been at a team dealing with relegation, it leaves something on you a little bit. So I was surprised by it. You know, a lot of Manchester City fans probably thought maybe McAtee might not have had a future here because he's been on loan. But if I'm McAtee tonight and I see my manager talking like that, it's going to give him a boost. So he can clearly see something in him and some sort of, role for him in the team. So we'll just have to see in these games where he plays it.
Yeah, the way he specifically pinpointed him, is that like Steve said there, the way he talked about him dropping into the areas as well, and he said that he'd like to see him with them next season.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really interesting.
It is, and I thought, look, this first season he'd done really well when they got promoted at Sheffield United, and I was slightly surprised that he went on loan last season and they didn't buy him, which maybe kept that window open for him to come back this pre-season, see how he could handle his first full season in the Premier League. He spoke about his physicality. James will openly admit himself that he needed to bulk up a little bit. Mentally, as Pep said there, and Steve rightly said there, and being in that relegation battle as well can add something more to you, not just technical. And he's a Pep Guardiola player. He says he plays in the little pockets, he makes it difficult. He's very, very technical. But as Steve said there, that if you're James McAtee and you've seen that interview, you would watch it over and over again because it's going to give him such a big boost.
Cannot wait to really hope to see him in the game tomorrow against Celtic. Loads of other things we're going to whiz through because we're going to go over to pitch side shortly where FG is there with Sean Wright-Phillips and Joleon Lescott. But he mentioned the importance of no injuries. He's hoping for no injuries on this tour. That is so key.
Yeah, no, it's not. This is a pre-season tour. We're out there, but we've got to make sure we know what we're out there for. It's to get fit and to get up to speed, ready for the first game of the season. And we were saying off air about maybe we need a few additions. The McAtee thing you just said there, maybe James is going to come into the equation, but the last thing we want is any injuries. You know, Jack's been working hard away from the cameras. Erling's had a nice break. You know, he's been meditating on the riverbank and all that. So
chopping wood.
That's what I'm saying, chopping wood and, you know, driving a tractor and that. But no, the last thing you want as a manager is any injuries. So if we can come away from this tour with a fully fit squad going into the Charity Shield and Chelsea and getting all the boys back from holiday, I feel like Pep will be happy with that.
That's the one thing that's probably the only thing that's never changed since I played pre-season. It was all about getting yourself fit and up and running the first game of the season and no injuries. You know, I've played in pre-seasons where you've won every game and you lose your first 4 games of the season. I've lost every game and you get a great start. So the results don't make a difference. It's about getting them right up to speed for the Community Shield and then that first game against Chelsea.
Yeah, absolutely, and that'll come round quickly because they always do. Loved that press conference from Pep Guardiola. Now look at them 3 handsome guys pitch side there at Chapel Hill. A very streamlined FG since the last time we saw him as well. Hey guys, how are you all, FG?
What's happening now?
Hey, hello everyone in Manchester. We're very well, thank you. Great to see you all as well. Big Steve looking well, Paul Dickham and Nat as well looking great.
Very kind FG. Right, tell us what is going on over there. What can you see? We're not jealous at all.
Well, to be quite honest with you, it's been pretty crazy, hasn't it? Of course, I've got the pleasure of being with Jolien and Sean again. Jolien, behind us right now, there are
in front of us.
In front of us right now, yeah. Behind the cameras right now are some kids who have been absolutely making crazy noise for our players who've just come out.
Yeah, the noise was electric there when the players came out. A lot of them I met yesterday, one of the second schools, but yeah, very energetic crowds here.
Yeah, so welcome to Chapel Hill, our first stop on the US tour. Sean, we've had a great few days here, haven't we? What have we been up to?
What haven't we been up to? Thing. We had the food tasting, which I think everyone would have seen. Big Mike's barbecue, which me and Jolien were defeated by. We did give it a good try, but it didn't work. But it's been fantastic to see the turnout and to see how big the following is out here for our club.
Yeah, the following's huge. I mean, Jolien, everywhere you look, like behind the camera and in front of us, is Man City shirts. It's great to see, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously we're growing every year from the brilliance on the pitch, the magnitude of the club. So yeah, in regards to the stature of the club, it's getting and it's expanding every year.
Yeah, we're definitely expanding. Let's talk about the players that are here, or the players that are not here. There's some players, of course, that are not here, but they've had great summers. It was great to see Rodri and Julian Alvarez win things for their national team, but also a lot of the players who are not here, they were all brilliant in the major tournaments, weren't they, Jolien?
Yeah, massive. Obviously Rodri, the standout potential hopeful Ballon d'Or winner, but yeah, in regards to the summer, I'm sure there's a lot of them more disappointed than Rodri, but overall they all had a great summer, and hopefully they come back and are able to recharge their batteries on the break that they're going to get now and come back mentally and physically prepared for the season.
As a player, when your team's playing in pre-season and you're not there, Sean, do you think it's easy for them to switch off completely, or they can't really because they'll be keeping an eye on this?
No, of course they'll be keeping an eye on it, but I think that they're professional enough to know it's time to switch off and proper rest, because sometimes it's not just your body that's fatigued, it's the mental side of it as well. So I think they would have had a nice break after, like you said, all of them were successful in their own way, and they deserve the break, and I'm glad that they're getting it, especially Rodri. I think he's a man that just don't seem to get a break anywhere he goes, but he's a winner, so take my hat off to that, I'll tell you that much.
It's an absolute pleasure to watch him play, but yeah, we hope he's resting well and all of our players are resting well. Huge opportunity for these players. We just saw the press conferences. We'll start with our manager, Pep, in a great mood as always. I love it when he's in that mood. He was talking about, he even mentioned about Rodri in the Ballon d'Or, and he was like, there's loads of candidates, but he'd be delighted to win it, delighted if he won it. But the job Pep's done has been incredible. This pre-season is an opportunity for him to see players that he hasn't seen much of, and it's an opportunity for players as well.
Oh, definitely. An opportunity for both, like you said, the players especially to leave an impact, whether it's on the pitch. I'm sure he's aware of all their technical aspects and abilities. It's an opportunity to to give an impression personally, what you are as like as a person, because you're coming into a first-team environment. Granted, there's a lot more academy players in this squad, but later on in the season, he might be one of few. So it's an opportunity to leave an impression off the pitch as well as on it.
We've seen pre-season before for players. We're talking about Rico Lewis. He had his breakthrough through pre-season. You're a young player. You're coming into this environment. You're seeing all this amazing stuff, Sean. What's going through your head? Is it just solely focused on making sure the tour's good enough and not trying to look too far ahead?
No, I think, like Jolien said, there's a lot of young players here. I think you normally go to a pre-season and the senior players are trying to get what they need out of the game. I think tomorrow's game is going to be completely different because there's a young players that want to make an impression. So I got a feeling it's going to be quite high intensity. They're going to go for it and show Pep what they're made of. And I think when you got McAtee and Oscar and Rico to show the younger kids the way to do it, I think they're in perfectly good hands.
And of course, Pep mentioned James McAtee, Jolien, a player that we all rate very, very highly. He did really well in his loan stint, a massive opportunity for him.
Oh, huge. Like Big Steve said in the studio, if you're James McAtee and you hear that, it certainly can inspire you to do well. I'm sure he's aware what the manager thinks of him. He obviously slightly biased to small left-footed midfielders, to mention Phil Foden and Messi, to mention two of them. But in regards to James McAtee, I know how fondly he feels of the club and of the club think of him. So it's a real opportunity for him now to take a claim and leave an impression. So he's not going on loan, and there's a real opportunity for him to compete next season.
And it was a huge opportunity for him last season in that loan. You've got to fly there. It's like the bat again. Do you remember the bat in Tokyo? Flies like it, Sean. But anyway, Sheffield United, his loan spell actually did him a lot of good, didn't it?
The world of good. I think people don't understand how hard it is for him to be in a team like that's continuously losing but still putting on the performances he was putting on. I think for a young man, I think that's done his mental strength the world of good, and I think now he's coming here on confident, a load of first team games under his belt. Now he will be more settled here. There's situations he'll be able to deal with better because he's experienced them. In no disrespect to Sheffield United, but not in a very good team. Now he's in a better team, and those situations will be easier for him to get out of.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's move on to Oscar Bob, who we also saw in the press conference. He seems to be growing in stature every time you see him. This is a real opportunity. He had a great year last year for him personally. Do you think he's going to kick on that goal at St James's Park? They mentioned it in the studio before. Could be a really, really important tour for him.
Yeah, definitely. I think it will help him be one of the more recognisable faces and names. Now, obviously, if everyone was here, he'd be one of the lesser experienced players. But him now, he's obviously going to have to be in part of the leadership group in regards to the academy players. So yeah, it's a real opportunity for him, and obviously there'll be no question of him staying here this season. It's just where we can get more game time, and hopefully now is an opportunity for him to impress Pep at the start of the season.
Yeah, he spoke really, really well in that press conference. A man that we've not mentioned yet, which is interesting because he scored a goal for Manchester City in the Champions League, is Micah Hamilton. I'll come to you first, Sean, because he's got so many strengths to his game and he could offer so much.
Yeah, well, he showed that in his debut in the Champions League. I thought he was fantastic, and I hope he's got that same mindset now that he still wants to prove, and the hunger and desire. Can you hear the fans? Boys, the team's obviously just come over behind us now, so the fans gone a little bit crazy. But yeah, he's got so much to give, and this is another opportunity again for him to show on a more consistent basis where I'm ready for that step up and to make a change.
And talking about this environment here, you can hear the fans going crazy because the players are just here. For the younger players to experience this, where they might not have experienced it before, how much benefit and how much motivation does that give to them?
Hopefully it's the world of motivation. This is what you want to aspire to and become a regular in these environments. But yeah, it's an opportunity to play in front of fans and different crowds and environments. But yeah, when we go to the games, I'm sure upwards of 30,000, which a lot of these young players won't have experienced. So it's a real test of nerve and character, because they have to treat this game a lot more serious than, say, the more experienced players. They can't come here with the thought of it's just pre-season, I'm just trying to get fit. They have to come here with the real ambition of impressing Pep and the coaching staff to make a way into the squad.
Does that make Pep's job a little bit easier in that sense, because he knows that the group of players he's got have to show, maybe give it 110% every single game they play in?
I wouldn't say it makes his job easier. I think in so many ways it could make it harder, because if they come here and do what everybody believes and expects them to do, then he's got more tougher decisions to make when it comes to picking that final squad going into the season. But I mean, this is like Jolien said, this is a lovely opportunity for them, and it will do each of them the world of good, even if they're not in that 24-man squad. What they've experienced here, it's not something you get often, and it's great to see, and I'm really looking forward to the game and watching them play.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really exciting. There's also players like Justin Aboado, who scored in the Youth Cup for us. He's a quick player. He's very young, 17 years of age, explosive player. Opportunities for players in this position. We've seen Callum Doyle as well. Spoke really, really well. He had a really good loan spell last season.
Had a few good loans here.
Yeah, and he's been absolutely brilliant. Him being here as well and speaking so highly of Pep, there's so much for him to learn. And of course, he's played that men's football as well.
Yeah, that's key. I think, listen, as a young player, you have to get into the first team environment as quick as possible, not to develop on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. We've got to understand there's a lot of young boys here, you know what I mean? One of the lads is 16, so it's obviously different. He's probably the longest he's been away from his family, you know what I mean? So there's obviously different experiences that they can gain in this environment, not just on the pitch and what it's like to train with the players like Erling and Jack, but in regards to becoming men, really, because you're going into an environment where it's unforgiving. You're not going to be seen as a young boy forever. You're going to be judged on what you bring to the team, and as I said, there's a maturity that comes with that, so hopefully they're developing in every aspect of their young adulthood.
Let's talk about Jack Grealish, shall we? An interesting summer for him. Obviously we know what happened with the Euros, but he looks like he's in great shape. He looks like he's raring to go, Sean. We know, City fans know about Jack Grealish's qualities. Are we expecting a good season from him?
Yeah, most definitely. I think I've been in that similar situation where I haven't gone on a tournament, and it feels like that break from the season ends to when the pre-season starts. It's like it takes forever to come around, and he's obviously done the right things while he's been away. He's come back tip-top shape, and he will be raring to go, and he will be excited because now he's playing, and he's got a chance to stake his claim and win that position back and make it his own again.
And he'll be looking at this as a massive opportunity. What about someone like Calvin Phillips as well, Jolien, who's back with the squad? Calvin's a great guy, a fantastic player as well. We've seen it. It's an opportunity for him to sort of restart his career as well.
Hopefully that's the real opportunity that he needs. And as I said, it'll be different circumstances for him. Hopefully there's a run of games that he knows he's going to get, and players can perform differently when they're in a relaxed mindset. So hopefully that's the case, because he's a top player, and I think everybody wants to see him do well, and I think everyone that knows him knows how good of a guy he is as well. So hopefully he's in a better mind space than he was at the end of the last season. I know he was on loan, and he probably didn't go as well as everyone would have hoped for him. But in regards to this season, it's an opportunity for a fresh start and a clean slate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a massive credit to our academy as well when you watch the players behind us, how sharp they all are. The rondos that they're doing here are so high quality, and I'm not just talking about this circle with the senior players in. There's one here with the likes of Mike Hamilton, Oscar Bobb's in there, Callum Doyle's in there, Tom Galvez is in there. They're all so sharp, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think that's why you have to take your hat off to the way the academy system at Man City is done, because they've come here and they feel comfortable within the ball or whatever box they're in because of the training they go through, the repetition of keeping the possession of the ball. And when you can pop it around like that, you can't think of anything worse if you're the two in the middle and you can't get the ball. So they just keep popping it through the gap. So it is nice to see, and hopefully they take this zest and zippiness in the way they're popping around into the game tomorrow.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to be in a rondo. Also, let's touch on what we've been doing again in Chapel Hill, because I mean there's some content coming to City Channel soon which involves these two trying two other sports. First things first, Jolien, we'll come to you. Baseball. Yes. Nothing but pure upper body strength is what I'll say. This man is a machine. How is that?
Yeah, to be fair, the rotation wasn't there. It was more just the swing of the arms and the upper body strength. But yeah, it's a lot harder, the timing. We wasn't swinging on proper pitches as they're known. There was underarm pitches, a lot softer and slower.
Sorry, we have to stop you there because they've just sang happy birthday to Erling Haaland, which is probably one of the nicest things. It's a day late, but you got his cake as well, which is on City socials, and Erling just had a little laugh. And Sean Wright-Phillips, basketball.
What about it?
Tony, what do you make of Sean Wright-Phillips on the basketball court?
Let me hear this now.
No, he's all right. To be fair, he's clutch, man. We put him under pressure his last two shots and he delivered, man. So I gotta give him his props.
Listen, that is some sensational content which is coming as part of our City on Tour series. We've had so much fun. Look, before we head back to the studio, what we're going to do is we're going to play a game with you, all right, Sean? This game is going to be just with Sean. We've got yours for later on in the tour, okay?
Why just me?
Because, mate, isn't it? Listen,
you can't lose, Sean.
This is what we call a TikTok trend, all right?
Oh my God.
And it wasn't my idea, by the way. It was a TikTok trend. You need to stay quiet until you hear a player that you think is faster than you in your prime, okay? And you were quick, he was quick, right? Okay, you ready to go? I feel like he wants to just speak anyway. Do you want to get it out first?
No, go on.
Right, okay. First player, Rico Lewis.
No. Oh.
He literally just spoke.
I did it wrong.
We have to start again. Right, we'll start again.
God,
he knows
Sean.
the first
Don't
answer
speak.
now, don't you? You can't say
It's
no.
that simple, Sean.
I like to talk, innit?
Right, okay. Got to be silent, all right? Number 1, Rico Lewis. Number 2, Jack Grealish. Number 3, Kevin De Bruyne. Number 4, Phil Foden. Number 5, Oscar Bob. Erling Haaland.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
You just for Erling, yeah?
Yeah, because I think over like maybe 20 yards, okay, but if it goes further, he gets quicker and quicker.
Yeah.
So
the next one would have been Jeremy Doku.
No, I'm quicker than him.
Oh,
no, I'm quicker than Jerry.
You're quicker than him?
Yeah. In my prime, I reckon I was.
I reckon the opposite to Erling. I reckon the longer it goes, he's quicker. Shorter, I reckon. Short, about 5 to 10, I would say Jeremy. Longer than that, Sean.
And the last one was probably just put in so you'd speak, and it was Carl Walker.
Yeah, stupid.
Yeah, that's just pointless.
Yeah, that was just pointless. But that was Sean Wright Phillips with the TikTok trend. Jolien, you've got that to come on.
Best not be pace.
we'll arrange something like that. Gents, thank you so
Shrimp.
much.
I want to do shrimp.
You want to do shrimp? Yeah, strong. I can't wait till you guys.
You've got to pick his game.
Yeah, man.
Well, what would you have wanted?
Shrimp.
You wanted shrimp?
Yeah.
What are you lying for? We'll arrange that one as well, most definitely. Look, we're going to head back to our studio. We'll be back very, very soon tomorrow for the match, all right, against Celtic. We look forward to it. Over to the legends in the studio.
Thank you so much, FG. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Jolien. Are you guys standing in like the busiest place? Or like everybody keeps walking past you. I don't know if you know. Like every man and his dog has walked past you, and except some of them keep crouching down, but we can see them.
Yeah, we were absolutely fully aware of it. Yeah, there was a guy who was literally with a camera right next to you here before. We were fully aware of it.
Like, do they not respect you all enough? Come on, you need to put your power down, FG.
Nah, we couldn't exactly tell them to get out the way and all that. It's a free country over here.
I feel like we're just happy to be here, right?
Yeah.
Show your strength, Sean.
We need Big Steve to come and help us out.
Big Steve says he wants to see the strength from the lads to stop people walking past.
He wants to see Jolien's strength or Sean's strength.
Both of them.
Because they're both strong.
Stop the people, that's what we say.
Ready to go? Well, we're off to... Well, maybe you got a new career then.
Yeah,
maybe.
Security.
Thank you guys. Speak to you soon.
Security. Bye guys. See you soon. Take care. Bye. I love that. I loved Sean that couldn't stay quiet during his TikTok trend. He just couldn't do it.
He didn't quite get the game, did he?
No.
Don't think he did he? No. Bless him. But I loved it. I loved his answers about who would be faster. He'd really thought about that.
Shawnee was quick. He was one of these players quick without the ball, but he was actually quicker with the ball when he was dribbling with it. I was quite surprised he spoke at Erling, though. I would say Sean was quicker than Erling.
I think it's the stride of Erling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Erling's got four of Shawnee's strides in one, I think.
Shawnee's got 20 and little shuffle to one Erling strides, that's what it is.
Oh, I loved the American crowd singing happy birthday to you, happy birthday, Haaland, happy birthday to you. That was very American.
It was.
Very American.
It's great for the fans out there to be able to see them as well, you know. We say it all the time, the club's just getting bigger and bigger on a global basis, and especially out in the US, and for the fans to be up close and personal, to see them training, see them in the games tomorrow, it's great for them.
Yes, love that. The American fans really getting to see the man there. He's so famous. He's our Pep Guardiola. If you've just joined us and you haven't seen his press conference from earlier, go back 20 minutes or so and watch his press conference. It was absolutely brilliant. We loved it. Now, of course, we were speaking earlier about the fact that we've had during the summer the Copa America, and we've also had the Euros. Now, a few of us to do with Matchday Live did some Euro predictions a little bit earlier on. So we're talking way before the tournament started. We did some predictions. So let's have a look how everybody did. So we had to predict winner, player of the tournament, top scorer, best young player and shock team. So there was Kel, myself, FG, Nedham, Kit Simons, Ali Man and Big Steve. And the only one that got 3 right was Big Steve. Go on, Steve. Okay, so you were the only person that predicted Spain, first of all. Why did you fancy them?
I just did. I felt that they were playing well coming up to the tournament, and then looking at the players, especially the wingers, Williams and Yamal, it was like, I think they were going under the radar, no one was really speaking about it, and then Rodri's so important for Manchester City and Spain. Pedri as well, just fancied them, just really did. I had a bet on them as well, so I was happy with that.
Well done. Well done. If you can see my mind there, I had France as winners, although I did change my mind pretty much after the group stage. But I had France before. Foden, obviously. I feel like I had to go with our boy. I feel like I was more loyal than you in this for this game. Or maybe I was thinking with my heart and you were thinking with your head, Steve. Mbappe obviously scored a bag full of no goals at the Euros. Best young player, again, I went for Foden because, Paul, my heart was overtaking my head.
I think before the tournament, I definitely would have joined you with Foden in Scotland. On there.
Shock team, Scotland. Shocking team,
Yeah.
Scotland.
You definitely went with
I would have won that.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely.
I just thought we were going to get out the groups, and I thought that was going to surprise everybody, but we didn't.
I thought we would have struggled. I did. I'm not just saying that afterwards. I just looked at the groups.
I had to get a
Switzerland
plane
were very
back
good.
to Edinburgh with the Tartan Army. I was the only one in England top.
They were the best. They were the best thing about the whole tournament, weren't they? The Tartan Army.
Great, the Scotland fans.
And the Netherlands fans were good as well.
Oh,
but
brilliant, yeah.
I went to the Scotland-Switzerland game, obviously the game where Scotland got a point and scored a goal, and witnessed the masterclass of Akanji again, firsthand.
He was outstanding all tournament, wasn't he?
Outstanding, annoyingly outstanding in that game. But yes, the Tartan Army were magnificent. But congratulations.
Thank you. What do we win?
Good predictions. The pride of Matchday Live.
No budget for it, is it?
No budget at all whatsoever. You just get to show off to everybody that you knew more. So this is Pitchside Live, of course, tomorrow, City's first pre-season game of the season against Celtic. So it is a 12:30, that is 12:30 midnight kick-off here in the UK. So Matchday Live, Kel will be here in the studio with a build-up to the game from about 11:20 tomorrow. And he's going to be joined by Steve Howie and by Kit Simons. So Celtic, talking about Scotland, Celtic as our first pre-season game. I mean, Celtic, similar, they have an incredible following all around the world, an absolutely huge club. I imagine the fans will be going absolutely insane tomorrow for both teams, Paul. Yeah, they will. The Celtic fans globally and historically are fantastic. I'm a boyhood Celtic fan growing up as well, so my two teams playing against each other tomorrow, and it'll be a good test. It'll be a good test for Man City tomorrow, with us being our first game. Celtic had 3 or 4 games already, pre-season, a couple in Scotland and one. I think they beat DC United 4-0 the other night there. So they're sort of probably 2 or 3 weeks ahead of our guys in fitness and games-wise. So, but in saying that Pep will want that sort of test to see where the players are at the minute. And obviously Brendan Rodgers there, old teammate Kasper Schmeichel, who's went in as well, replacing our other old teammate, Joe Hart. So it'll be a tough game for them, but the atmosphere will be fantastic. You've seen the City fans here at the training session, and there'll be a lot of Celtic fans there tomorrow as well. And of course, for Celtic, unlike City, they will have the majority, if not all, of their squad back by now, especially, sadly, the Scotland players that were in the Celtic squad. Still not over that, will be back. So they'll be playing with the full squad as well. Yeah, they will. Kyogo's a fantastic player. Matt O'Reilly, who got a couple of goals. He's been linked with Juventus at the minute, I think. He's a very good player. All the obviously internationals are away with Scotland as well, so they'll be up to full strength, so it'll be a good test. In terms of the City team for tomorrow, Steve, obviously we mentioned Pep mentioned James McAtee earlier. Who are you looking forward to seeing tomorrow? Of any of the squad, it could be from the fringe players. Who are you looking forward to seeing? I like Nico O'Reilly. He's a player that I've watched in the EDS for a long time. Me and Paul spoke off air about him. I feel like he's a really good talent. He's there now on the screen. I feel like he's very, very positive. Every time he gets the ball, he wants to play the forward pass, and he's just come back from a bad injury, but I feel like, he could light it up for me. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. And we spoke about him before, Oscar Bob. I feel like Oscar's, like you say, he's got a little bit of a point to prove now. He's bedded in the team. He wants more minutes. It's up to Oscar to go out there and make Pep
take note.
I think as hardcore fans, we're looking forward to seeing, exactly as you say, some of the youth players, some of the fringe players. For those American fans, though, who do you think is going to get the biggest scream tomorrow, Jack Grealish or Erling Haaland?
I think Erling might just nick it on there as well, but said before, it's great for them to see it. I'm looking forward to seeing Peroni come back as well.
Yeah.
You know, he had a very good loan spell. You know, I liked what I've seen of him the short match time he got the season before. Callum Doyle, who's, I know Jolien mentioned there before, you know, he's only 20 years old, but he's already had good loan spells at Sunderland, Coventry, and the Leicester fans loved him last season, so big chance for him to impress. And obviously Jadon Heskey, who won the EDS Player of the Year, he swept up at the awards at the end of the season there, scoring lots of goals. So there's so many different people I'm looking forward to seeing out there, because we've got such a talented squad now. I want to see Calvin Phillips do well.
Yes, Calvin Phillips. We saw him he's there in shot now on the left. Obviously had the loan spells last season at West Ham that didn't specifically really work out for him. Everybody that ever comes into contact with him only wishes that man well. He seems like the loveliest man. I really hope that this tour he gets an opportunity to stand out.
Yeah, everybody knows how good of a person he is. He's been a little bit unlucky at City. They tried to find a solution with him at West Ham. Everyone was rooting for him at West Ham. It didn't work out there. I feel like with pre-season, though, for a lot of players, it can be a fresh start. It can be a new beginning. And especially with a lot of the senior players missing, this is a chance for Calvin, against good opposition, to put a marker down. You know, there's no Rodri there. If he can get in that role and start pre-season and catch Pep's eye, then maybe he's got a future at the club. And like you say, everyone's rooting for him. Everyone that's come into contact with Calvin knows what a good player he is. And I think he's just got to believe it a little bit himself. I feel like what he did for England a few years ago, he was up there, England player of the tournament and things like that. And I feel like he just needs to get his confidence back.
And obviously Gareth Southgate made some comments about Calvin Phillips before the tournament, that essentially Gareth Southgate was struggling with his formation because he didn't have Calvin Phillips. Perhaps comments like that and this opportunity will really help to boost his confidence.
It didn't really make sense to me a little bit, you know. When
Take him.
Yeah.
He was in, when he wasn't playing for City, he was in the squad every week. He goes out to play and then he leaves him out. And then he comes out with obviously the statement that you've just said, that we can't get a player to sit inside Declan Rice because Calvin Phillips was that good at it, but then you don't take him. So I think Calvin now, he obviously would have watched the Euros. I probably would have put a little snigger at Gareth's comments on that one. But he'll be desperate to do well. I just hope he doesn't try too hard, you know, to come back in and impress. You just want to see the Calvin Phillips that won the Player of the Euros, that done so well for Leeds and who looked so promising when they first came in. We just need to get him back to that, and then hopefully he can stay with us and have a good season.
I mean, he looks fit there. He looks like he's been staying in good shape and staying in form as well. So it'll be interesting to see if he's in the team tomorrow. In terms of the other first team players that we're used to seeing, we'll have Stefan Ortega and Ederson to choose between goal. I imagine they might get a half each, which again will be wonderful for the fans to see because they were both so phenomenal last season.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, they talk about Ortega, he's probably the best number 2 around, you know what I mean? It's the first time in years as a City fan, no disrespect to the past number 2 goalies, where if Ortega is in net, you're calm with it, a little bit relaxed with it, you know what I mean? And yeah, they're doing so well. There's talk of Ederson maybe leaving, but, you know, with Ortega there, we don't want to see Ederson go, but I think Ortega's, I mean, especially last season, the save against Tottenham was unbelievable. So, yeah, them two are great.
I remember that save like it was yesterday. I don't remember where I was. I remember the way I crashed to the floor and just worried about what was going to happen. So, very much thank Stefan Ortega forever. There we see Stefan Ortega. And there's our Scott Carson as well getting involved. And Ederson looks like he's got layers on there as well.
Yeah.
So we've got the proper trio, the dream team trio of goalkeepers out there. Another first team player we haven't talked about yet, but Pep mentioned, or Pep was asked about him in his press conference, of course, is Jack. Yeah. We know that he's had the break over the summer that he won't have wanted. Selfishly for us, he's had a break, and we know that he's been doing training by himself. We heard Pep say that it's in his hands, that it's up to him. Again, this is pre-season is a great opportunity for Jack because, again, like Calvin, Jack is a player that we all want to see do well.
We do, and look, he's got the bit between his teeth. You know, some people are saying that might affect him going into the season. If anything, it's made him more determined to come back and do well. You know, nobody was as disappointed with what happened in the summer than him. He was devastated and slightly disappointed with the season he had. But people forget he had a lot of injuries last season that disrupt it for him. But look, he's a top player. I still go back to the treble-winning season from that Christmas onwards consistently. He was our best player in all the big games, and keep him fit. And I'm sure we'll see Jack back to his best again, if not better, because he's got that real drive to go out there and prove people wrong now after what happened in the summer.
And congratulations to him as well. Of course, him and his partner announced that they are having a baby. Fatherhood as well might be good for him.
Yeah, I think that when he got dropped for England, I feel like it could have gone one or two ways. You know, he could have maybe sulked a little bit, maybe felt all done to, but he didn't. He went away on holiday. He's come back. We've seen him training in private, and he looks sharp. And it's fantastic to see him like that. And at the end of the day, like Paul said, that treble-winning season, that running we had, he was outstanding. And I feel like he's got a point to prove. And with Jack Grealish with a point to prove, is a dangerous player. And I feel like it could be like getting a new signing. You know what I mean? It could be like getting a new signing. And he's got competition. Jeremy coming in, he's a different winger to him. You know, he'll have to take that on the chin. But listen, it can only be good for Manchester City to see him on this pre-season tour and training on his own pre-season. I think it's great.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and I think underestimated by people that didn't watch him every week during that treble-winning season. For the fans of other clubs that were just looking at stats, they had no idea how pivotal he was in that season. In terms of the number of players that will play tomorrow, Paul, are you expecting pretty much everyone to get a game, or are you expecting to sort of see an 11 that we might see throughout?
I would imagine it would be 45 minutes would have been the first game. You know, just get you know, a lot of the first maybe two pre-season might be different because the first two pre-season games are Celtic and AC Milan. You just want to try and get minutes into the legs more than anything else. But I would be very, very surprised if anybody gets more than 45 minutes. So some people might even get half an hour with the size of the squad that's went out there. But tomorrow night it's all about starting off the pre-season well, and as Pep always says and said before, no injuries.
I know we talked before about how important this tour, how good this tour will be for some of the youth players. I feel like it's just seeing them now training, so seeing the young players training with Erling, with Calvin, with Jack, just even getting this opportunity for 2.5 weeks, it's going to be so brilliant for their development.
Unbelievable, like you say, it's probably the first time in a while we've took this many youth players on tour with us. But as you can see, they've been training in the academy here, in the campus for a while. Pep likes to mix it up, so a lot of them know each other. But it's just that time to shine. It's that time to go out there and you know, put a marker down.
I love watching these open training sessions. I always find them really, really fascinating. Paul, what are you, with your professional eye, what are you seeing? Is there anything that you're seeing that us non-professionals might not be?
The one thing that sticks out is whether it's Jack Grealish there or one of the young kids that's coming through, is how technically gifted they are. You know, if you look at the way they're passing it here, nobody's slowing the ball in. Every pass they're doing, they're wrapping it into them because they trust each other's touch and trust each other's technical ability with it as well. And obviously it's good to see there's the enthusiasm of them. You wouldn't expect anything less, but sometimes pre-season, when it's hot and you've had a hard training session, you can get a little bit leggy, but it's the technical ability and the pace that this is a training session. They've got a game tomorrow, and you look at the tempo and the pace they're playing at. So, it's great to watch. I love watching this.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah, the tempo is amazing considering that this is a training session, but it is so enjoyable to watch. Steve, in terms of the other players there that you know from the EDS from the last few seasons, who else there? Is there anyone that's standing out for you can tell us a bit about?
Ndala, the winger, good player, England youth player. He's always impressed me when I've watched him. Like we talked about before, Doyle, great player as well, got a bit of league experience. And Paul mentioned Perone, coming back from Las Palmas on loan. So he's got that experience, and I feel like you look at the intensity of this training session, Paul's just mentioned it, it's fantastic, and Pep's just been geeing them up on the touchline there. I mean, they're going to be so excited. Esbrand as well, he was on loan I think at Coventry, and then he went to Rennes. So there's a few players there with a point to prove, you know what I mean, who are going to get 2 solid weeks to impress the manager, and you know, it all starts tomorrow against Celtic, good opposition, so we'll see.
For some of the players that have been out on loan as well to be back, Jolie mentioned Callum Doyle, obviously we know that he was at Coventry and he was part of the team that lost.
He showed up Aston Villa.
How did he do that though?
Well, he's got to be more dynamic. He's got to run with the ball. He's got to show more pace off the mark. Things I thought he had at Aston Villa. He looks slower. He looks undecided what he wants to do with the ball, and then ends up playing a backward pass.
Yeah, so very much looking forward to what Manchester City have to show in their first game of the pre-season. As for Celtic, here's how things went for them last season. As mentioned, Scottish champions, Scottish Premiership champions, also Scottish Cup winners as well. When it came to the League Cup, it was a second round exit for them, and the Champions League, the group stages as well. But the two teams have only met in competitive fixtures in Champions League play in 2016, with both games ending in a draw. We'll see what today has to offer. Stick around, it's up next.
Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance, and I saved hundreds with all the...
Host of friendlies to enjoy. Tonight is Man City against Celtic, so let's send it out to our commentators for this game. It's Callum Williams and Jamie Watson.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. Really appreciate it. Match day in Chapel Hill, and football of the other kind today bestows itself upon a venue drenched in sporting heritage, under the watchful eye of the Moorhead Patterson Bell, with the start of the domestic campaign drawing near. A chance to tune up on an evening where thousands gather to tune in and watch their heroes as the elite of English football arrive and go toe-to-toe with the champions of Scotland. A meeting of European folklore and fantasy in both past and present. To the starting lineups we go, and we start, of course, with the champions of England, Manchester City. And no doubt about it, Jamie Watson, this lineup littered with youth, but there is elements of experience, and a big night for Jack Grealish and Erling Haaland.
With Jack Grealish's omission from the European Championship squad for England, what is his response? He needs to get forward. He needs to try to get in behind, create a goal for himself or for a teammate. And then Erling Haaland, with 90 goals over the last 2 seasons, his ability to pin the 2 center backs is something that he's going to need to do tonight, and to get back into form early in their first match of the preseason.
Celtic's pre-season continued with a 4-0 victory over DC United several days ago. 5 changes from that team. It's a Celtic debut for Kasper Schmeichel in goal. Both Ralston and Taylor come into the back line. McGregor into midfield. Maeda into the front 3. This all centres, Jamie, around Matt O'Reilly.
It's Matt O'Reilly, and it's his timeliness to get into the box. He scored 2 goals against DC United by arriving at the right time. The numbers overload and being untracked from the midfield is his X factor. That's how he can cause damage to this City back forward this evening.
So a big day here in Chapel Hill, in a stadium that's used to seeing big occasions. For more, here's Katie Witham.
There is no better place for this matchup than right here in Kenan Stadium, guys. The home of the North Carolina Tar Heels is renowned as one of America's most picturesque venues. It's built right into campus, surrounded by the Carolina Pines. Honestly, there is no better venue that gives you the same atmosphere, scenery, or charm. And as Cal mentioned, it's seen its fair share of big shows, legendary performances from Bruce Springsteen, the Beach Boys, U2. In fact, even last year's international friendly between Chelsea and Wrexham was right here. They welcomed over 50,000 fans. That's what we're expecting tonight. And with a fresh Bermuda grass on the pitch, the stage is set for another big show.
Thank you, Katie. And so, a meeting of the minds here. A clash of two European giants. No doubt the Manchester City side has a handful of young players. The back line sees a litany of youth players given an opportunity, which Pep Guardiola will keep an eye on, no doubt about it. But for Celtic, this game 4 of their pre-season, with their regular season set to kick off in just 10 days' time against Kilmarnock. A circling of the calendar type of day for both sets of fans, and after months of waiting and anticipation, away we go as the FC Series Tour gets underway with two former European champions, two current continental giants going toe-to-toe and offering us today, Jamie, a glimpse of perhaps what we might see moving forward.
Brendan Rodgers didn't mince words. He thought his team's 4-0 win against DC United came down to their defensive intensity. And when his team is able to press and they're able to be on the front foot, causing the opponent to play a little bit quicker, that's when he feels Celtic are at their best.
Manchester City, of course, winning the English Premier League once again. In the Premier League 6 times in the last 8 seasons under the stewardship of Pep Guardiola. And it seems as though they're once again more comfortable than they perhaps should be with playing out of the back and dancing with danger as Celtic look to sniff in the early stages. Easily dealt with in the end, but Celtic continue to press, and the referee Ted Uncle blowing the whistle and perhaps saving Manchester City in the early stages here, Jamie.
As City look to play out of the back, it's all well and good until it's one pass too many, and Wilson Esperan had to do ever so well to make sure to just step in front of Kuhn, use his body really well to be able to absorb the contact and win the foul.
Manchester City happy to dice with danger, and this time the referee blows the whistle in their favour. Finishing on 91 points last season, 2 points ahead of Arsenal, of course, and 9 clear of Liverpool. Kenan Stadium, a worthy venue that we have for us here today, under the watchful eye of the Moorhead Patterson Bell, a place that you're more than familiar with, Jamie Watson, having played a portion of your collegiate career here.
One of the best venues, as Katie alluded to, at the University of North Carolina. It's special. It's one of the most iconic brands in all of the United States and collegiate athletics. So it's fitting to have 2 champions meet here, getting ready to start off their respective campaigns to try to make sure to continue the dynasty in their respective leagues. Celtic, 3 consecutive Scottish Premiership titles, and Manchester City, it's well documented, 4 Premier League trophies in a row. Almost unheard of in modern day football, but these 2 teams continue to just push the limits of consistency in professional sports, the hardest thing to achieve.
Celtic have won the Scottish Premiership in 12 of the last 13 seasons. I dare not mention who won the other title. As Grealish manoeuvres away, the former Aston Villa man. It's a very big season for the England international that missed out on the Euro 2024 championships as he manoeuvres away from the ball here, and Manchester City get themselves into 3rd gear. Here's Jack Grealish towards the Caspic goals. The effort towards a goal is flashed wide. First real signs of life in front of goal from Nico O'Reilly and Manchester City.
This is what Stuart Robson and Shaka Hislop were talking about in the pregame. Wanted to see more movement from Jack Grealish. Initially, he drops all the way back to just in front of the center backs, but it's the continued movement that pushes him on. And it's that last-second effort as Nico O'Reilly sells the initial shot. Not as inches wide.
Manchester City now going short and changing the angle for Calvin Phillips. Across goal. In the end, there's just a little too much behind it. The players are fresh after their breaks. Really good so far in training this tour It's going to be a real test. We'll play some good opponents in preparation of their title defence. To take a look at some of the younger players on this tour and build their experience. How capable are they was the question that he's asked them over the course of the last couple of days. Highlighted James McAtee and wanted to keep him at Manchester City this year to play. And he does that today and operates in the number 10 role today, Jamie.
It's a massive opportunity. We got a chance to ask Pep Guardiola who are some of the players that are looking to impress with a squad that's not at its full capacity, with players coming back and getting their due rest from the European Championship. So asked him, he was very pointed. James McAtee, he wanted to see him come back and do well, and after 2 years on loan, we got the opportunity to play no less than 67 games for Sheffield United. This is a real opportunity. Can he reach out, can he grab it with both hands and take that chance today?
Since 2008, has won 36 trophies, Pep Guardiola. 17 of those have been with Manchester City. Imperious. Tussle in the centre of midfield. Celtic now manoeuvring the ball forward with Scales. Here's Taylor. They're involved in the European Championships with Scotland, and this is now Maeda manoeuvring forward. The Japanese international, enticing ball across goal, wide of the intended target from Kyogo Furuhashi.
Maeda picks this up and has no doubt about what he wants to do. So it's confident, and at the moment, Rico Lewis is just waiting to see where Maeda's going to go. It's that little drop of the shoulder to create half the space, and Kyogo, because he runs beyond the near post, he's unable to guide that on target and really challenge Ortega. Needs to hold that run up just a step or two inside of the post.
There's Brendan Rodgers, a two-time SPL winner in his first spell as Celtic manager. Of course, was an FA Cup winner with Leicester City back in 2021, ex-Swansea City, Watford and Liverpool manager. Did say to us earlier this week he's been really pleased with the performances over the course of the last few weeks, especially against DC United several days ago. They pressed so well, delighted with the defensive intensity and the quickness of the attack.
Early on through the first 6.5 minutes or so, he'll be well pleased with the pace at which his side Celtic are pushing this match. Manchester City are doing their best to play out of it, but they're having to play a touch quicker than they would prefer to. So long Celtic can manage to do that. They are just a little bit further along in the preseason than Manchester City are, so fitness will certainly be in favor of the Scottish side.
Celtic, of course, as you mentioned, already beating DC United by 4 goals to 0, as Kay mentioned in the studio. They won 6-4 against Queen's Park, and now they have some defending to do up against Jack Grealish. It's a rather rash challenge on the near side. Referee sees nothing wrong with it. And Grealish with a slap of the wrist, showing an element of frustration in the early stages.
Exactly what you would hope for from the 24-year-old Stephen Welsh. Just waiting for that moment. Comes across strong, puts himself right into the mix with Grealish, and a crunching tackle early on. For a centre-back going against the likes of Grealish, Erling Haaland, to be able to have that sort of an impact early on in a 1v1 setting, do wonders for the confidence of Welsh.
Scales. Here's McGregor. Celtic look for another way through. Scoring not an issue for them over the years. Skew from Manchester City at the back. Furuhashi unable to find a way through this time. Actually, Manchester City calm and composed under pressure. There's O'Reilly into Haaland. Grealish. Manchester City find something here. Really turning away from several. The referee does eventually blow the whistle in favour of Manchester City.
Erling Haaland finally getting some involvement, helping start the build-up to this, and then Grealish. He asked what the response was going to be from Jack Grealish, coming off of his omission from the European Championship side, and early on through the first 8.5 minutes, he looked real lively and involved. A willingness to go and find the ball. Mentality is going to be so important for a player who's experienced some really high highs and as was alluded to in a pregame show, astutely by Shaka Hislop, just sort of the disappointment that he found over the course of the 2023-2024 season.
Phillips. Going to find a way through a forest of Celtic jerseys, and Hashi now into the left-hand side.
He missed the option on the near side to Kuhn. He went the wrong way, and that killed the entire attack. Just needed to pick his head up and see Kuhn marauding forward on this near side.
Scales. McGregor. Tarte able to wriggle away from the nearest challenger, and Phillips, and here comes Celtic down the left-hand side. Maeda with a litany of support awaiting the service. Taylor. Celtic opt for patience. Taylor. Celtic find a way through this time. So the little piece of defending and a goal kick. Now then, talking of Manchester City, you're hearing a lot from what's going on the bench, I understand, Katie Witham.
A lot of individual coaching down here from Pep Guardiola in different moments of this first half early on. Shortly ago, he caught his goalkeeper's attention, Stefan Ortega, telling him, I want to see a little more quick switches from you, dumping the ball specifically over top, wide on this near side, seeing some space in matchups that he prefers.
Thank you. Manchester City, don't forget this, just their first game of the pre-season. They do have intriguing tests against AC Milan, Barcelona and Chelsea on the horizon, part of the FC Series tour. Here's Ortega, German goalkeeper. Phillips.
Already tactically, Wilson Elsbrand is already tucking over, listed as a left back, but he's finding himself in the vertical lanes where he pinches in. Tactically, these are one of the things that separates Pep Guardiola. What a ball over the top.
Can Manchester City find a way through? For the one for trying. Kasper Schmeichel able to gather.
I think the legs get tangled up, and I'm okay with that decision to not blow the whistle. I don't think there was a touch, but I think Nico O'Reilly also clattered in as well. Great look at it, though, to see just how close that opportunity was for O'Reilly. And it's, at times, one of the X factors that the 19-year-old academy product has is his understanding of when you lull your opponent into a sleep with some possession, and then if that darting run that Celtic backline has to react to, and if they're even a half-second late, that's where O'Reilly can get him behind.
As we said a little earlier on, Pep Guardiola looking to make the most of the opportunities to play some of the young players. James McAtee, the 21-year-old from Salford, just 5 miles west of the Etihad Stadium. Spent the last 2 seasons on loan at Sheffield United. 9 goals during their promotion season to the English Premier League, was consequently relegated with them. But Jamie Watson, that experience that the 21-year-old will have garnered is invaluable.
It is, and his positioning today, James McAtee playing in the number 10 role. I think right now there is a need for City in that position.
Can they defend this foray forward here for Celtic? Fabulous finish! Inside 13 minutes. Celtic score!
This is Celtic at their best. The up back and through the chest of the shoulder from O'Reilly. And it's within the secondary touch. Now Kuhn is going to run right across the face of Wilson Esperand. And as soon as that happens, that's when Wilson Esperand has to slow up, and then Kuhn can take that extra touch, that extra half second to slow himself down, compose himself, place it to the far post. Nothing Ortega can do about it from this position. That is composure at its finest. Wonderfully well-crafted team goal. And it all starts with that passing to break open Manchester City in the middle of the park.
Unsurprisingly, Celtic looking a little sharper, a little more composed, having played 3 more pre-season games than Manchester City have heading into this game. 12 days' time, Celtic face off against Kilmarnock in the Scottish Premiership to start their season. Do have a intriguing test against Chelsea at the stadium in Notre Dame in several days' time. Will be the final tune-up. So far, so good here from a Celtic point of view. Lewis. So you go back to a relatively young back line that has been tested on a number of occasions inside the opening 15 minutes. Lewis 19, Luke Mbete 20, Gerard Simpson-Poussy 18, George Wilson-Espran 21.
Fired in his chest, and with Calvin Phillips dropping in between, that gives them the extra number and maybe the bit of the unbalance to bring in Wilson-Espran on one side and Rico Lewis. But right now, the only possession they're getting is around the back 4 until they get pressed by Celtic and then ultimately just give the ball away.
Mbete. Simpson-Poussy, the 18-year-old academy product. There's O'Reilly. I believe it's the best opening for Manchester City in the opening stages. 16 minutes are passed here, Jamie Watson, at Keenan Stadium. What's the observation thus far?
For City, the only possession they're having is about the area in which Ortega sits on the ball. We've said Erling Haaland's name one time after the introduction and after talking about him so much in the pre-match build-up. Now there's just a big gap between the possessions being kept with the back 3, back 4, and the goalkeeper for City, the midfield, and the front 3. It looks disjointed, looks disconnected from City, and as you'd expect in the first game of the preseason, but untypical for City of the standard they hold.
Challenge that was necessary came in from Lewis. Here's McAtee now, looking for a forest of Celtic jerseys and winning a free kick. Meeting between these two was all the way back in 2009 in the World Football Tour. Manchester City victorious by 2-1 on that occasion. Chris Killen, the early New Zealand centre-forward, with the goal for Celtic on that particular day. Gareth Barry and Craig Bellamy with the goals for Manchester City all the way back in 2009. As Kay alluded to in the pre-game show as well, 2 draws in the UEFA Champions League in 2016, the only competitive tests between these two. On offer today, and what can Manchester City conjure now after falling behind early to a Niklas Kuhn goal? Scales. Kasper Schmeichel on his Celtic debut. He spent the last 2 seasons in France and Belgium respectively. He may have some work to do here. The combination and challenge made in the centre of midfield though, as Maeda latches onto the ball, and here comes Celtic looking for goal number 2. Maeda across goal. Challenge that was necessary came, and behind for a corner.
That switch to isolate Maeda 1v1 against Rico Lewis has been the first ball, the first outlet that Celtic have looked for when they get those transitional moments. Now they get the opportunity via set piece. It is 2-on-1 if they want to go quick, and they do.
Towards the cusp they go. Happy to retreat momentarily to McGregor. Q on the far side leads. The ball is kept in, as though the majority of the players thought as though the ball had gone out of play. Not the case. Corner.
Kuhn was the only one that continued on. Their assistant referee on the far side. Marcus Moss, his flag didn't go up. Ted Uncle, a referee, didn't whistle, so Kuhn was the only one that was thinking and being alert to continue on.
High hanging ball played in and nudged away to safety for the time being. McGregor. 21 years of age now, Callum McGregor. Started all 3 games for Scotland in the European Championships as Celtic look to find a way through. Kobayashi towards goal. Easily gathered by Stefan Ortega.
Kobayashi played the wrong foot as the entry pass was looking to be slid in. He had Tate to be able to try to slip him in behind, but instead he played it to the back foot. He wasn't able to take it on the half turn into the 18.
To retreat into the path of Kasper Schmeichel, of course, started his professional career with Manchester City. His father, Peter Schmeichel, the season at the club as well after a spell with Aston Villa and most famously Manchester United for many a year. First he won the Premier League with Leicester City, did Kasper Schmeichel all those years ago. An astute piece of business for Celtic and Brendan Rodgers.
But the timing of Joe Hart, they had a big hole to fill with that going. Jami Sinisalo started against DC United. He was the first goalkeeper brought in, and then were able to acquire the services of Kasper Schmeichel. And it's been to see Schmeichel. He looked reinvigorated yesterday in his press conference, talking about how excited he was to join in for his first training session yesterday.
Maybe he'll be tested here as City look to find a way through. Behind for a corner. McAtee at the heart of it again.
Much better movement from McAtee. Number 10 role, just understanding the moments when to go. City loves to come and play short, but who's the one running behind it? It hasn't been Haaland yet. McAtee takes the responsibility on his shoulders.
Skabob played into the back post, launched high into the North Carolina sky. Eventually the referee sees enough to blow the whistle in favour of Celtic.
Pete does everything he can with the first initial effort to just try to keep it alive. It's no malice, but it's dreadfully painful for Ralston.
Pete, an academy product, loan spells at Bolton Wanderers and Huddersfield Town in the English Football League in recent years, and Manchester City now break forward. It's Haaland! First real save for Schmeichel as the follow-up is skied over the bar and behind. First glimpse of Manchester City from an attacking point of view.
That is City at their best. That's what you expect when you pay your admission and you turn on the TV to watch Manchester City play. It's taken them all of 22 minutes to finally have a good attacking sequence. That's why you bring in Kasper Schmeichel to understand all that wealth of experience, when to come out and when to make that save.
From one goalkeeper to another. Here's Ortega. Able to kick the ball out of the nets when Niklas Kuhn would test him earlier.
McAtee's wanting to push the pace, and he was upset with Nico Riley for choosing the backwards option. I like seeing that from McAtee. I want to see McAtee be a bit more vocal and have a demonstrative nature about himself to be able to try to push the pace. This is too slow for City. They're hopeful that they're going to draw Celtic out, but you can see how disciplined Celtic are. In their midfield 3, Celtic are doing a better job of winning the center of the park right now, and now that's why Haaland is dropping back 20 yards the wrong side of his own half.
There's Grealish. Just 3 goals and 1 assist in 20 Premier League appearances last season for the former Aston Villa man. O'Reilly, academy product from the heart of Manchester. Manchester City unable to find a way through once again as Oscar Bob chases the lost cause.
Bob has to be stronger to retain possession. So look at that passage of play. You're going to see the up, back, and through nature. Now it's Haaland, and it's the understanding, the timeliness to be able to slip it through.
because that's going away and because it's on the less preferred right foot for Haaland, he's got to take that step beyond to try to cut it back. And Schmeichel stays as big as he can for as long as he can. And that wide wingspan of his, he's just being hopeful and making himself as big as he can, and it's exactly what he needed to do. He was probably just about as surprised as anybody else that his right hand was able to make the save.
It's a terrific save at that, isn't it? On second viewing. Here's Ralston. And so we're hearing that there's plenty of instruction from Brendan Rodgers, and from a Celtic point of view, Katie Witham, what are you hearing?
Well, the gaffer told us coming into this one, this was such a huge opportunity for his side to play Man City this early in their season, and he is focused and locked in on this sideline, specifically paying attention to his defensive organization, tweaking little things, giving little pointers out, and then when they do get it down the pitch, he's very focused on improving their decision-making in the final third.
Say to us yesterday, Brendan Rodgers, that he's got his group now to the point of the pre-season where it's all about quality over quantity. There's been several boxes ticked, and they find another moment of quality here as Phillips fires high into the sky. Glorious evening in North Carolina. After 25 minutes, it's the champions of Scotland who lead the conquerors of England by 1-0, and perhaps they have a chance for number 2 here. Field goal, Furuhashi across goal. Manchester City and Rico Lewis calm under pressure. And a free kick now for Pep Guardiola's side.
Tons of composure from the 19-year-old Rico Lewis. Guardiola will love to see his right back just having the confidence to be able to not only bring down that touch in the midst of an opportunity without understanding what's fully around you in that moment, then to keep possession, to break pressure. Ultimately, City are able to retain possession. They just need to be doing this 15 yards higher up the field. It's a little too deep right now from City.
O'Reilly. As Manchester City look for an equalising goal. Celtic organised, in tune, on hand. Here's McGregor. 11 Scottish Premier League Championships as Celtic manoeuvre forward again. Maeda with the angle against him. Was able to tow the ball away at the vital moments. Bob lending a defensive helping hand as well as Phillips picks up the scraps. Grealish. Taking the ball over to the far side. There's Oscar Bob, the Norwegian international.
Look how much more dangerous City are now that they're 10, 15 yards higher up the field than where they've been for the majority of the first half in their possession. And at each and every moment, there's a constant threat from a deep-lying run. Haaland's got some space as Welsh has just stepped. There was time to go do it, but I just wonder if the fitness right now is lacking for those extra runs in behind and the willingness to have those runs.
Should point out as well, it's very hot here in North Carolina as well. Here's Grealish on the edge of the penalty area. Grealish trying to slip it through. And Celtic able to divert the danger. Jack Grealish unable to find a way through.
One of the most interesting battles all night long has been Maeda versus Rico Lewis, and to this point, Maeda has been getting the better of Lewis. At that time, 19-year-old keeps his feet really well, and the England product just makes sure that he doesn't overcommit. He's starting to learn the tendencies of Maeda, and that'll cause for a bit more competitive 1v1 duels and understanding the tendencies of Maeda.
There's Rico Lewis on the ball again from Bury, just 11 miles north of the Etihad Stadium. Made his England senior debut in November last year. Here he is on the ball again. Just 19 years of age, into the path of Oscar Bob. Phillips.
Again, even further in this passage of play from City, being able to push forward. This is where we want to see Jack Grealish be more creative.
Off of the shoulder. Grealish. And the effort towards goal is easily gathered by Kasper Schmeichel.
This is patient. This is better from Grealish. Surveying his options. He's wanting to set this up to get the effort towards goal, but it closes down. And when he draws over the third defender, that's when he's able to play that clever little slip ball in to McAtee, who just can't get his feet sorted. Half-hearted shouts for a penalty that fall on deaf ears of Ted Uncle.
Drago.
It'll be a constant theme tonight for Jack Grealish. How dynamic can he be? Can he cause problems going 1v1? Now he's got the opportunity with the break. It's a 3-on-3 if Haaland can push fast enough.
Melvin, here comes Manchester City. Here comes Erling Haaland! Another sensational stop from Kasper Schmeichel. And Manchester City test him again. The effort towards goal is straight down the throat of the Great Dane. What a debut he's having for his new football club.
Already a legendary name, but he's proven himself a worthy replacement of Joe Hart. So far, Schmeichel is doing everything he can to make the saves he needs to, and then the saves that he's not expected to. This time, Haaland gets clever, and he tries to dink it up and over Schmeichel, but he stays big so long that he's able to read the flight and the change of speed in which Haaland put that effort towards goal. Haaland tried to outsmart Schmeichel. Schmeichel shows all of his experience to make that crucial save.
Well, then here's O'Reilly and Oscar Bob. Manchester City interrogating. McAtee. Over the head of Ralston. Manchester City have to go the other way. Grealish. Leads to a chorus of boos from one or two of the Celtic contingency. This is Bob. Up against Taylor. Oscar Bob craving half a yard, which he does get. Fabulous challenge on the far side, and Aider on defensive duties for Celtic able to prevail.
It's just too slow from Oscar Bob. He had a 1v1, he invited a secondary defender, and ultimately that's where the opportunity goes begging. Same questions we're asking about Jack Grealish. Oscar Bob has just as much of a stake in this to try to prove that he can be dynamic in those wide areas without the likes of Doku in the side or Phil Foden. But if Oscar Bob wants to play at a walking pace, Celtic won't mind that, and Pep Guardiola won't want to put that in his starting 11 week after week.
Schmeichel taking no chances. Some can be said about Stephen Welsh.
City are starting to win the ball higher and higher up the field. It's leaving them more sustained attacks.
Here they come again. Haaland and Oscar Bob. It's another save from Kasper Schmeichel, who is oh so unfortunate. Manchester City find a way. Breakthrough in the same shade of blue at the University of North Carolina. And finally, Kasper Schmeichel is beaten.
The sustained pressure from Manchester City is the reason they win it higher up the field. And Haaland understands the pressure that he's feeling and knows that Oscar Bob is beyond him. So now Bob takes that extra second, leans himself forward. It's not a particularly great strike, but because it's so close to the body of Schmeichel, he actually extends beyond it. And with his attempt to come back in, it's so unfortunate for the debutant for Celtic. Schmeichel feels as though he should be able to save that. In the form he's been in the first 30 minutes, he'd expect himself to save it. But nonetheless, Oscar Bob does just enough, and fortune favors the men in light blue.
Fortune favours the bold. Fortune favours the bob on that occasion. Pep Guardiola will be a much happier manager.
And he will be, because over the course of the last 15 minutes, his side have played much higher up the field. They've been winning it back higher up the field, and that's led to these opportunities. The first 15 minutes of this match, they were pinned in, and quite frankly, weren't up for the pace of the match, but they've started to settle down and acclimate themselves, and now they're finally being able to
pin Celtic back, excuse me. It's been the first time that we've seen that happen for a sustained period of time.
Welsh happy to retreat into the path of Kasper Schmeichel. Here's Ralston. Schmeichel back on British shores after a spell with Nice and Anderlecht respectively over the last 2 years. Still got plenty to offer at the age of 37.
One thing from City, Calvin Phillips has taken a higher position, and that's allowing McAtee to go a bit higher. Nico Riley's been able to go a little bit higher. Now's when you need to see the possession from Celtic through their center backs and allowing the outside backs to get higher. That way you can get the likes of Kuhn and Maeda a little bit higher up the field. We haven't said Matt O'Reilly's name nearly enough for Celtic inside these first 35 minutes. He needs to be able to get on the ball as well, like he did on the half turn for the goal.
Well, he finds something here. Ortega came a very, very long way. He was confidently able to rid the danger.
It's no real surprise as soon as Matt O'Reilly can get on the ball, the 2023-2024 player of the year for the club. 19 goals. He's also able to provide a plethora of assists as well. 18 of them in all competitions.
Perhaps Celtic can find another way through here. The effort towards goal from Kuhn again! Well, in the midst of pre-season, Celtic look as sharp as ever in front of goal and slice through the champions of England for the second time.
Just like the first goal, as soon as Celtic are able to get on the ball and have turned in the middle of the park, that's where they've been able to slice open City. Wilson Esperan takes too fast of an approach to try to close down Kuhn. And Kuhn is always waiting to chop him back. He just gets the 21-year-old to bite. And then he composes himself, eyes it up. Ortega's at the mercy of Nicholas Kuhn, who is ruthless for the second time tonight. That's a fantastic response from Celtic to regain the lead.
Niklas Kuhn, the former Bayern, Rasenball Leipzig and Ajax man, joined last season from Rapid Vienna for a reported $4 million. 2 goals and 2 assists in just 14 Scottish Premiership appearances. Safe to say, if he continues on this trajectory, Brendan Rodgers may give him many more opportunities in the forthcoming season, which gets underway in just 12 days' time for Celtic, hosting Kilmarnock in the Scottish Premiership. So what now then, Jamie Watson, as we enter the dying embers of the first half?
I think you see when Celtic are ready to push the pace, and collectively the group says, let's go. They push forward. That's when they're at their best.
Maeda latching onto a pass. Is there a third here for Celtic?
Riley's at the top of the box unmarked. Just a good recovery from City to close down any option. It's no surprise when Celtic play at a faster pace and they push the tempo. City right now is struggling in those transitional moments. They're a bit unbalanced, bit of a disjointed side. Right now they are really struggling with those line-splitting passes that Celtic are playing. Both goals have come from.
There's Welsh into the deep line, Callum McGregor. Scales, the Republic of Ireland international. Celtic looking for another one here. Into Niklas Kuhn again.
Onto it. He had the defender there that he could have tried to use as a bit of a shield. He just wasn't able to guide it on target.
Rio Hitate did score 3 times in the Scottish Premiership last season. Joined Celtic in 2021 after 3 titles in 4 years in the Japanese J-League. It's a market that was invaded by Ange Postecoglou when he was in charge of Celtic, the Australian, more than familiar with the market in Asia. And Celtic and now Brendan Rodgers reaping the rewards. There's Oscar Bob, goal scorer for Manchester City. Ortega. Ex-1860 Munich goalkeeper, joined in the 22-23 season from Arminia Bielefeld. 20 minutes for Manchester City during the Premier League campaign, played in some big games as well. He's played in the FA Cup final defeat to Manchester United 59 days ago, and now Manchester City changed gears, albeit momentarily. There's Taylor. He finds Kasper Schmeichel. Ralston. Welsh. Away. First team fixture for Celtic. So rescue from Schmeichel. Welsh will tidy up. New product, Stephen Welsh, just 24 years of age. Celtic really to have turned down approaches from the likes of Toulouse and Udinese and across Europe over the course of the last couple of years. Ralston clearing the danger away. Tate. Maeda. Two Japan internationals combining. The effort towards goal. Maeda very scrambling. Ortega.
Both Maeda and Kuhn understand right now that when they go 1v1, there's no need to slow the pace down. It's the exact opposite of what City are doing with Oscar Bob and Jack Grealish, and it's the difference of why Celtic actually look the dangerous side in the final third. Both of the wide forwards are just pinning the ears back and saying, let's go for a run. Right now, the two outside backs for City, Rico Lewis and Wilson Esperan, are having a very difficult time dealing with the pace and the shiftiness of the two outside forwards for Celtic.
Manchester City find something before half-time. Wiggle through on the far side. McAtee brings it forward. And charged down. Ralston.
You're really starting to see where the loss of key figures for City, not being in the squad and on the tour here in the United States, at least not for now, but Kovacic is one that instantly you start to think of. Kevin De Bruyne, the players that really dictate the center of the park for this side, and Guardiola making those runs forward. Missing real key components to this opportunity that's there for several players. Just not sure many from City are taking it right now. McAtee finally on the ball after a 10-minute spell of being quite invisible. So just need more right now in the middle of the park from City.
Perhaps they can offer more through this set piece. Scoring not an issue for Manchester City over the years. 96 goals scored last season, the top scorers in the English Premier League. The top goal scorers across Europe. Here's Haaland. Just unable to get the half a yard he needed.
That recovery from Ralston does just enough to be able to put a body on Haaland, not commit a penalty, but not allow Erling Haaland to be able on that favored left foot, and the Norwegian, you know, just wants to put his foot through it after two clever attempts to try to clip it up and over. Schmeichel wants to just get on his left foot and put his foot through it. And then he just takes off, and it's Kuhn with a world-class ball. The outside of his left foot gets the pacing just right. There's still so much to do for Furuhashi, but he's just patient. It's that extra touch, that extra roll when Ortega reaches to just bait the goalkeeper in, let him go to ground, and then put the pace on it to apply the finish. That is as good of a goal as you will get. Diogo starts it all with his movement into his own half and the willingness to run beyond in the 44th minute. World-class service from Kuhn. It's 3-1 to Celtic.
Diogo Furuhashi has been in riveting form over the course of the last couple of years. 73 goals in all competitions in the last 3 seasons for the Japanese international. Formerly of Vissel Kobe, where he played a minute or two with Andres Iniesta. Celtic, now the recipients of his determination. 1 added minute. Half-time interval. Here's McGregor.
This ability to keep the possession under pressure, Celtic will be just as pleasing as the 3 goals for Brendan Rodgers. Of course, as you say that, they give it away, but throughout the course of the first half, Celtic have done a fantastic job just absorbing the pressure, but playing their way through it and maintaining possession.
Phillips under pressure. Happens to clear the ball into touch. And with that goes the half-time whistle. What has been a thoroughly convincing opening 45 minutes for Celtic. Nicholas Cohen playing the role of senior pest for the champions of Scotland here today with 2 goals.